Good day, students. You are welcome to Virtual Learning Environment, Biology, SS1. Today's topic is Estuarine Habitat. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to define the term Estuarine Habitat, mention 3 examples of estuarine habitats, state 4 characteristics of estuarine habitats, outline adaptation of 4 living organisms, basically plants found in estuarine habitats. An estuarine habitat can be defined as a body of water formed at the coast as a result of the action of tides that mix salt water from the sea with fresh water from the land. Examples of estuarine habitats. 3 types of estuarine habitat exist. The first one is called delta, the second one is called lagoon, while the third one is called bay. A delta is where a river divides into many channels before entry into the ocean. It is formed at the mouth of the river as it enters the sea. The second example, lagoon, is a body of ocean water that enters into the land through a canal, and the water mixes with fresh water from rivers and streams. The third example is a bay. A bay is a small portion of the sea water which enters into the land and mixes up with fresh water from the rivers and streams. Characteristics of estuarine habitats. The first characteristic of estuarine habitat is salinity, that is, the degree of salt concentration in water. In estuarine habitats, the level of salinity is lower at the mouth of the river and gets higher towards the sea. The second characteristic is turbidity. Turbidity simply refers to as the total suspended particles and water clarity. The estuarine habitat turbidity increases during the rainy season when lots of debris is brought down by rivers to the habitat. Turbidity can be measured by a device known as Secchidis, and it tends to determine the depth at which light can penetrate. The third characteristic of estuarine habitat is that water in estuarine habitat is very shallow. The fourth characteristic of estuarine habitat is estuarine habitat has low diversity of species, that is, fewer organisms exist in estuarine habitat. The fifth characteristic of estuarine habitat is the habitat contains abundant nutrients, such as organic detritus forms the bulk of the producers in the habitat. Organic detritus simply referred to as dead decaying organic matter, and this tends to start the food chain in estuarine habitat. The detritus is fed on by the crab, while the crab is fed on by the sea gull. 6 characteristics of estuarine habitat. Water is affected by tides. Seawater flows rapidly into estuarine habitat at high tides and rushes back into the ocean at low tides. Seventh characteristics. The oxygen content of estuarine habitat is very low and microbial activities are anaerobic. That is, organisms that live at that particular level tend to respirate anaerobically because they cannot access enough oxygen. Since they require energy to help them survive, they produce energy without the presence of oxygen by respirating anaerobically. Plant species and their adaptive features. Planktons, such as diatoms, possess false feet for attachment to rocky shores and air bladder for buoyancy. Algae possess chlorophyll for photosynthetic activities and they are small in size. That gives them an advantage to float in water because of their large surface area to volume ratio. Black mangrove has nematophores, also referred to as breeding roots for gaseous exchange. See, this is a black mangrove plant. Look at the breeding roots, also referred to as nematophores, that aid the process of gaseous exchange so as to sustain the life of the mangrove as it continues to strive in salt water. The red mangrove has stilts and prop roots which provides support and increase their oxygen supply to underground roots, and it also prevents it from being washed away by tides. The red mangrove seeds germinate on the parent plant, preventing the seedlings from being washed away by water currents. And they also possess a complex salt filtration system and root system to cope with salt water immersion, osmoregulation, ability to maintain their constant internal composition irrespective of their changing environment, so as to maintain proper fluid balance and turbidity. Thank you, students, for listening. You can move a step further to answer the question that follows. Stay safe and remain blessed.